Okay, so starting out with the 30-foot trees, we need to go through, you have to locate the 4 anchor points. And then in the center of all 4, you're going to put your center post right here, and that's what's going to hold the tree in place. Then you're going to have the base pole, has both of your cranks on it. Then next, this is the inside crown. Then you're going to have the top crown. It needs to be on. In between there, you're going to notice you got color matching paint, blue and blue. This is a center joint, goes about that far. That keeps the 2 poles together. Then on the end, you're going to have a small pole that gets center joint that's going to keep the 2 together. You have your top crown. Here in a minute, we're going to stretch the cables up through this pulley back down to the crowns. These are your guy wires. They'll go to all 4 stakes in the ground. Put your appropriate star into the crown. Ensure to put your cord on, tape it, and run it down so you don't stay in the tree without the cord. Because we're going to have to lace it through there.
There's one coming from the big side, one coming from the small side. The big side.
Okay. So you're going to take the bottom crown, has 2 of these tubes, and that way you're going to go from the spool through the tube from the spool through the little tube there, and that protects the lights here. Otherwise, you'll cut the lights. Okay. So once you're done there, you feed it up through the neck crown, and you go through the inside of the crown. Go ahead and pull your slack. Then there we go. And it really doesn't matter which direction. One's going to go one way, one will go the other way. So try not to peek your cable if you can. Then bring your slack down. You'll go through the opposite side. Yeah. Okay. Now, so the big reel is the upper crown. It's a heavier reel. Inside of there. There you go. So bring this cable down. And on this one, feed through the 1, and then we're going to feed.
Here, I can't
No,
see.
you want to feed through the other side. Oh, you feed through both of them.
Yeah, that way it lifts.
They're just filming the video first.
There. Now yours is going to go through the top, around, come back, and it'll hook to this one.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, and then now we'll put cable clamps. We always put 2 cable clamps on both crowns to ensure we don't drop. There we go. We'll pause.
So there is 4 lines to go out to the big anchors in the ground on each. That was the top. Here's the bottom, and they go out to where they need to. The furthest away from the tree when it's laying on the ground doesn't get attached until after it's in the north and south ones just leave a little bit, but a lot of slack. Just tighten them up and you can tighten them later. The north one or the one under the tree should also be the same way. And the south one, the bottom, or the west one, excuse me, don't tie it at all. Through the crown to the ground.
We have this bottom one goes to the first tie.
I did. No.
Then we'll go with the right
North.
side.
Okay.
Goes to the outside, left side goes to the left.
South.
The top one is going to go to the far side. It will not be attached. As you stand the tree, you'll pull the clamp back. Always stand the tree with the wind. That way the wind will blow the tree against the ties. That's safety, believe me. Once everything is tied, and you make sure this cord is ran down through the crown towards the bottom, verify that it is taped and ready to go. Current point, we're ready to stand it. All right, we're gonna pick up the tree, we're gonna set it down, we're gonna put the base of the spike, or the base of the pole against the spike. That way when we start standing the tree up, the tree will center on that spike.
And someone needs to have their foot roughly where his foot is
To hold it.
to hold the pole in
Because
place.
once you start bringing this up, there's a lot of tension right there. So,
Okay.
man, they got to keep their foot there. They can't let up.
Very
all right.
important. Okay, so we're working on the big tree. It's first. You take, this is the east tree. It has red lights on the outside. There's 16 around the crown. That's how many lights you should have. They are looped on the end. That goes around the crown. And then these lights are separated. And there's 2 in this V from the tree. And then down here we've set the box. I just did it with my finger. We'll come back through with a nut or a socket and tighten it. The tree stood, then you come through and you use the biggest rings we have as the inside tree. The smaller ones we don't actually use. Put it down into the ground with some stakes to keep it down. From pole to the first is 6 foot. From this 6 foot out 7 foot. So it's a 13 foot from the pole out to the outside of the tree. The span between this stake and this stake is roughly 32 inches. We just use a large piece of rebar and a 7 foot stake or a 7 foot pole. It's just a little bigger than 7 foot. The exterior tree is put around the crown. These 2 will be separated and we'll make a V at the bottom. With 13 feet out from the pole, the outside tree stakes should be 32 inches apart. The tree, as you crank up the tree, the watchers on the outside are just making sure nothing gets tangled. And you just go slow and work together. On the bottom, you tie it around the ring. Every other. There's one in between. Slip knot here up to the first light on the bottom. Usually it's a double light like that. And then we'll do the tie. Wait, hold on, stop. You're good. You slip through here, so you can't use it the same way as the first round. You have to kind of make your rope, so you pull it up, go through this loop at the top, pull it down tight. So now you have a slip knot to where you can make it tight. Pull it tight to make the form of your tree, wrap it around and right back through, tighten it up. That makes a tight knot, keeps it square knot, I believe is what they call that. Makes it, keeps the strand tight. Do it a second time, just like we did on the first ones.